Hello guys, so let's do a quick prediction for next week and quick recap for what happened last week. The last prediction was that we were here, and when we saw the break and the close, we know we will get to the 441 area, 440.85, and it will be bounce, and it did bounce, and then a break for continuation. And my end zone won the 425, 26, and even 422, which hasn't reached yet, but guys, very, very close. So a perfect prediction of what's going to happen with the market without the Feds, without the interest rate, and um, all the stuff out there. Just looking at the chart, just looking at my algo and prediction, basically 1 week of what's going to happen, sometimes even 2 weeks. So it's going to be very hard for this week. So let's gonna and give it a go. So what we saw here is basically a break to the downside, a break of key points. Let me make it smaller and then you can see it. Um, you can see that most people tend to call it reverse head and shoulder. This is the neckline, the 432 area, and this is the break. And when there is a break, most people tend to take the high. Let's say it's 460. This is the 430. So 30 bucks. So to below, the next target is the 400. So let's make it 4.5. All right, give and take. So will the S&P will drop to the 4.5? This is first big question which we'll need to answer. It's a good area because we have a gaps. You know what? Let's go for the daily. This is the daily. And let's make it a little bit bigger. So this is the 400. You can see the area of the gaps. There is a lot of gaps. Also here a gap to close the 4-5 area. And it's good because most of the time the S&P likes to close the gaps and don't leave them alone. Rarely it leaves gaps unclosed. So we have a gap from up above, which is a good sign for maybe continuation in the future. So I know a lot of people enter in August and July the market, but many people, I know my friends, colleagues, just blindly go to the S&P. There was a lot of communication and advertisement and what going inside the S&P, and many now are stuck in about 5% loss, where was predicted that it's going to be a 10%, even 15 loss. So get prepared. Um, you are lucky because there is a gap from above which need to be closed. Two gaps. This is a big one. This is another one, and there is here another one, which is good for you. So for now, be patient. Seek advice and do your own due diligence. So what we gonna see? You know what? Let's go to the monthly because I want to show you something I was talking about. Um, let's make it smaller. You know what? Where it is? Here. What you see here, this is a nice moving up, decline, and then redecline here, and then it's going up, moving down. This is a strong support, 50%, and then moving up. Many people thought that we're gonna see this shape, 1, 2, and a break. And for the S&P, it's very hard to do so. In solo stock, you could see that, but in the S&P 500, where there is a 500 stocks, very different from each other. Even though only 10% can push it up, it's very hard to make this basic maneuver and to break the high. Um, and you could see it, and this is what I'm afraid of. Let's move here and see what happened. We have moving back, great pull back, and moving up, moving up, moving up, push back, trying to move up, or you can even see it here, and then a failure. And the failure is big one, and this is what I don't like. And where we go to here, see it again. Remember this pattern. We have one break, two break, three breaks, moving up, moving up, moving down, moving up, and maybe this is the pullback everybody is waiting to, about breaking even the 350, which is a support area I'm waiting for so long, or even lower. This could be very interesting. I know a lot of people even have fear from the fact that the S&P gonna reach the 250 and even retest the 225 area of the COVID. And this is what worries me, because you see what happened. It broke those line here. It even got even lower. So there is a potential move. So let's start examining that. First, what we got, we saw the divergence. We knew every move to the downside will create a continuation to the upside. And this was good. Immediately push up. But now, the month isn't over. And this is a big key. Because this is a cross, which not completed. We need, this is the last week. So it's not completed. Because if it's completed, you can see the cross. And this is what worries me, because if we have a cross, the high here is 96 to 31, the high here is 94, then 98. It could interpreted as a bearish sign of moving for the downside, of continuation to the downside. This is not good. It means that the buyers have a long run of profit, decided to re-enter and put a lot of pressure, but the seller sold and sold and sold. Even if you see green, you can see the momentum is weakening. And the momentum was trying to make a very push. Like imagine that you press the paddle and nothing happens, or at least not as you expected. It's moved higher, but didn't manage to break the high. So it means that that the seller is much stronger this time, and this is not a good sign. Let's move on for the weekly, and you can see this is the break even here, but didn't finish. So it can bounce. So I want to see continuation to the downside. And let me clear it up. And you can see I draw the line here. We saw the break. All right, so you could see the break here. This was as a tail for giving us the break for the downside. This is 36, 24. This is 36. So it's dropped a little bit lower. So it could be, if we draw a Fibonacci level from this point, so you see it at the 38.20. So it might even move lower to the 420. And on the 420, it will create, even if it's moved lower here, a bullish sign, which is good. But we're gonna have a resistance which we'll have to cover. So at the moment, just looking at it, I want to see the continuation. I'm biased for the downside for continuation. You can see the big red candle of the downside, compare it for the upside. So much more sellers in control, but the 420 is a key area. Even though, can it move any lower? Let's check it more deeply. So this is the weekly. Let's move for the daily. On the daily, we have a dynamic support with a 200 moving average. This is the 425. This could be good. So it means it even can spike and reverse. And here, this is the 213. This is the 1. And it means continuation on the daily basis. So on the daily basis, we have continuation for the downside. Let me move for the 1 hour and let's look at the 4-hour chart. So at the 4-hour chart, my next target is the 422. It hasn't changed. So there is a good potential for the 426 because you can see this. This is a big area of buy and sell area. This is a liquidity area, and the next big zone is that big zone. So I'm more biased for it to move for the 422 and then trying to do something from there, even close some gaps from behind, even though the 400, I know people won't like it, but it's a good area. This is a 10% move in the S&P, and this is a good correction. 10% in any stock, which did about 20%, is a good one. For continuation for the upside, and so far we have the continuation of the downside. We have the break. Momentum is down, negative. Nothing else holding it back. It broke the last key area, the 430. So it means it wants to reach to the 422 even. It can try to reverse on the 425. There is small chance it can bounce. But even if it will bounce, it can continue even a little bit lower and then reverse. So far I'm biased for this week and even 2 weeks for the downside. Let's check it on the, you know what, you can even draw here something like this and then wait for it to break and confirm the moving for the upside. But so far, no go. This is a downside move. You can see the volume here for the downside. Downside, volume, downside, volume. There is a big volume for the downside, and even you can see how it finished red at the end of the session. Let's look at it hourly, how it looks. So hourly, see what happens. This is a very small time frame for a day trader, even 2-day swing trader. They can be a little bit positive because you can see how far it's from 200 and it's too far. And when a stock got too far, it's usually tend to retrace. Going far a little bit, retrace. And this is went a little bit too far. So it can be retraced, but even if it retraced back here to close the gap, and this is a big gap for the S&P to close, the momentum is for the downside. So we just give a chance, better chance for the sellers which didn't enter the market to sell at much bigger price and to push the market for the downside. So be very careful with it. You can see it here. This is 171. You can see how it's an oversold. This is a big oversold, and many teachers and I don't know gurus and stuff tell you that even when you see a big oversold for a longer time, it should reverse, and this is incorrect. This is a false, because maybe in the 70s when this indicator invented all the momentum indicator, most of them RSI was on the 70s, they were correct because no computers, not many company knew them, but now anyone know them. So it just means that when you get in the oversold area, there is a lot of sellers out there. So on the opposite, you have to be very careful. Shit, it's getting oversold. Many sellers are in the house. Get out. So even though it's moved higher, it doesn't mean, you can see it moved higher, but the price didn't move higher. It can even not make a new higher high. So this is a continuation of the downside. You can see the rejection here. This is a bearish one. You can see the rejection. So this is just a round number, and probably just because it's a round number, it was a bullish move and once was green, and in the end finish red. So be very careful with it. Even if it will open with a gap up and move to close the gap, many sellers will wait to re-enter and reposition themselves with a better chance of winning with the tiny stop losses. So this. I know it was long, but um, I think it's very important week. So again with the Qs, you know what? Let's do it monthly and see how it goes. With the Qs, the monthly same goes here. This is the pattern I'm fearful about. Sorry. Here you could basically identical. It moves, move down, move up, and then we are here now. So imagine what happened if it cross. Oh my God. This is a meltdown. This is not a breakdown. This is a meltdown. And I know many people talked about it now because we are at the beginning. This is the move for the upside. And what happened if it breaks here? And again, cross, but the wick didn't finish. And be very careful with it. So I will be very careful this week. For a day trader is a different story, but for investor, I will be very careful and look at it closely. Don't be a passive one. Examine what happened with the market. Again, a lot of gaps in the daily, so let's find the weekly. The weekly didn't close, which is good because you might say this is a cup and handle and it didn't break, so you can be still optimistic. Any move for the downside will create a divergence for continuation of the upside. And when we look at it here, let's say from there, here, this is the 347, 335, 322, and this is a good area for the Qs to bounce from. This is a good area for the Q to bounce. Retracement, 61% retracement, and then a bounce, continuation for the upside. A lot of seller will sell all the position, so you will have liquidity for continuation for the upside, which is good. And this is a bullish sign. This is a great bullish sign. The move for the upside, you just need, before it attempts to break the high, to bring more buyers to the party. Everybody move their money to gold, to Bitcoin and stuff, and it needs to push people back and give them assurance that it wants to continue higher. So even though in the short term, and for me short terms, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month, it can go down. For investment, I'm still positive about the market. I don't see it yet coming for the 250 low, and even so, it's a good opportunity to re-enter. But this is my opinion. So let's look at it a little bit closer. On the 4-hour chart, you can see again the big gap. You can see the tail. It's want to examine the 356, and I think this is its next target, 353, 354 area. Even if it breaks below and close below, next target 335. Let me see if I have here. I don't have it here. This is it. So guys, if it breaks below this blue, this is its next target. I know you don't want to see this. Let's go back here, here for the 50% retracement. But so far, you can see momentum is negative, oversold area. It doesn't mean it will go in a straight line. I don't know if it closed here, so it could mean that it wants to bounce there, and it could touch here and then go there, but it will meet the sellers again. Um, so I told you they are lurking. You can see this big candle, guys. This is here. This is sellers. This is sellers. This is rejection. This is a fake. Everybody thought there was gonna be a break, and boom, the sellers came and put the pressure. So be very careful. Let's look at it on the 1 hour chart and see how it looks. Again, it's too far away from the 200. You can see what happened there. It bounced back, sideways move. So we are in a big sideways move, and many people want to see the break below the 355. Do we see the reversal? I see the continue. I don't see much continuation. It probably can try to make a push for the upside. But even if it pushed to close the gap, I will be waiting to probably see where are the sellers hiding. You can see the volume of the sell. 1, 2, 3. So this is a start of a taking profit candle. Big volume. It once was green. So let's see. There is nothing much here to tell me, you know what, let's go for the 15 minutes, much smaller time frame I rarely use. Um, you can see also here the break, so it means it's want to move. We are still in a downtrend. We don't see any break. We see a big volume at the end of the session, which is not that good. Um, do we see any divergence? We don't see any divergence, so it means continuation for the downside, guys. So now let's move on for Tesla and let's make it more quick. Tesla, moving to the 4-hour chart. Tesla next target 237, can bounce even if it break it. Next target is 222 here. So this target and this target, probably even try to close the gap. Negative, guys. This is a negative posture. It can bounce up, guys. It's okay if it's a bounce up, but the momentum is negative. So be negative about your um, uh, bias. I don't know how we call it. So let's move for Apple. Apple probably the same. Apple's tried to be strong, didn't break. You can see it try in the post-market break, but it's moved up, but created divergence for the downside. This is 87.33. This is 91, so continuation for the downside. I know Apple want to do some um, how you call it fake, but not like mRNA. Apple doesn't make much fakes moves. But be careful now. Be careful. At the moment, I'm biased to the downside. You can see this, the move for the momentum to try to move up in the 4-hour chart. The 1-hour chart, it's still negative. There is no clean break of the trend. So a little bit suspicious about it. I know this is a strong hold of the buyers. You can see they come in here, and they don't let the price break and close below the 173.50 here. It's never closed, so the buyers are very strong. So it could push the market for the upside, but at the moment, I don't have any indication. So even if I see suddenly, I don't know, gap up for the 185, it's okay. I will wait and see where it gives me opportunity to enter a better position with a smaller stop loss. So this is Apple. Let's move to Nvidia. I think a lot of people will watch more closely Nvidia here. You can see this is it. It didn't touch it yet. The momentum is negative. It tried to move for the upside. And there is a good chance it do a second reversal. Let's look at it, you know what, on the daily. because many people waiting for the close of this gap. And you can see it even here. This is the, I don't know, head and shoulders, cup and handle, I don't know how you call it. Um, the 402, the 400, if it breaks, uh, just drop to the 200, 350, and even try to close the gap. At the moment, I don't like to call it a divergence. This is a 676. This is a 7. So let me check it back. This is 3.7. So this is a lower low. This is higher low. Um, Try to pinch it out. And this is indecision candle, which is good. So probably lots of people will go above 421, which is the high, 421, 422. This is not my kind of deal, so probably above here they will go, but you can see the trend is down. So when there is a continuation of the downside again for in the shorter term, and probably a retest or something. mRNA. This was my big mistake because I saw it moving for the upside. But what helped me? That this was my trigger above the high. It didn't even try to hit above the high and it immediately fell. But you saw what happened. My prediction was for a continuation and it just failed. And this is why I don't like about mRNA. It's like to do the opposite of what you're thinking, and it's give me the smallest prediction percentage. It is good, but it's the smallest compared to other stocks. So I'm very careful about it. I'm only taking when I'm must positive about the move. So at the moment, I know it's below the 200 and there is a continuation of the downside. So at the moment, continuation for the downside. I didn't like this move because this is a freak out move. So it means a lot of positive people try to push for 30, 50, even 80. My prediction for the longer term is 180. Just probably they took them out with this big candle. This is not a good candle. At the moment, continuation for the downside, even though you can see it, try to be very positive. I'm not taking long, it is still in a downtrend. BA. BA was a good prediction, even continue lower. We saw below the 210, the 28, below the 28, the 205, and even going lower, and it's gonna reach to the 199 and 195, 199 was my end target, and it reached there. I don't trade it at the moment. So what's gonna be, guys? Just look at this graph, and you can say, let's move it on the daily. See what happened. And basically, let's see how it reacts to the 195.50 and 196 and see if the buyers recommitting again, because this was a break. Now let's bring the buyers and let's see what happened there. If they will fail, you have the Fibonacci level, guys. This is it. This is what I have, the Fibonacci level. Let's move for gold. Gold. Uh, I'm positive about the gold. It did a break of the trend. I rarely use those trends. I don't like. I like a price trend, not I don't know how you call it. Uh, but you can see the rejection, and you can see the big volume coming in a small candle. So I could see it trying to move a little bit sideways and then try to push to the, you know what, even 185 and even the 190. This is from a daily perspective. at the 4-hour chart, big sideways move. I want to see it clean break and close above the 181. This is a sideways move. I don't have any indication. You could say that you can see a continuation for the upside, and this is good. But with this big sideways move, I don't like to join yet. I would like to see the clean break. If we go to the 1-hour chart, it's much smaller time frame. This is 89, 86. This is, I think, much higher. This is 92. So probably retest again the 177 area and try to move for the upside, guys. Silver. Silver, I think it's the same. Let's look at it here. It's try to make the positive move, but in a bearish formation, which is not that good. If we look at it much smaller, you can see this is a big sideways move, guys. So it's reached to the 2050, coming higher, but see what happened. This is high, this is lower high. So will it come again here? If it breaks here, it can move to the upside. And I think it's tried to catch off guard a lot of sellers and then shake them out. You could see here some divergence for the upside, so it didn't finish, so it could mean continuation for the upside. Let's check the 1-hour chart. In the 1 hour, it started to be positive, so gonna be positive. It breaks above this line, probably reach here again to close that gap, even though gold and silver doesn't most of the time close gaps. You can see it here already in the negative. So any drop for the downside will create divergence. So if we take the Fibonacci level there, just this is a free one, move for here 2140, probably will create divergence and then move for the upside. So here you go. And Oxy, another stock which confused me because it's oil, what's very tricky. I was positive for continuation of the upside and immediately it fell off and bring more buyers. I don't know if it's felt more sellers here. You can see the big volume when it touched this 67, 65. My end target was 68. I could still see it because you know what, see it here. This is a moving downtrend. Find the position and support, and now it's trying to move higher. And oil, what it tends to do, it tends to break, move a little bit down sideways and waiting for a second chance for the break. You can see it here. It's making higher lows, higher lows. I know this is could be a break for the downside, so we should be waiting. But at the moment, what I see here is trying to be negative. Could push again here to the 61 and there is no divergence, so it means any move for the upside will meet the sellers and push lower. Let's look at it on the 1-hour chart. Very hard. You can see the break moving down, break moving down, small break sideways, break sideways, break for the downside because it doesn't have power. So see the volume here. See what happened here. This is a big volume. So a lot of people sold here, took the profit at the end of the session. Oh my God, they knew something. So at the moment, this is a break of trend, but a smaller one. So probably another push and then moving for the downside. So be prepared. So now the Russell IWM. This EDF give me the signal of the move for the downside. And below the 182, if you follow, this was when you close it here. It was clear that it want to move down, so it did a break, bring the sellers again, and immediately flashed for the downside. So again, I know it's a little bit far away from the 200. Sometimes it tends to make the reversal, but it doesn't mean that it wants to touch again. And see what happened when it touched? Immediately reverse. So I'm biased for the downside with it. Let's look at it on the 4-hour chart and you can see Um, I'm still biased, but there is a good chance for reversal. So it's just looking at and looking for the bars to come. And and this is a good sign from perspective for the long term because it it can still move down. This is you can see how it's steep this fall, but it could this is a big area of liquidity. So you can rest here a little bit, and if you can see a small green candle and an even bigger red candle, but smaller green candle, it could I don't know, stop the trend for pushing down. It could be very positive. At the moment, what we have is this Fibonacci. Let's put it here and see. This is the 175, 174. It could retest here and then try to reverse. Um, so guys, let's sum it up. I know it was long because I'm talking about the S&P and the Qs. So far, I know it broke. I know we have the momentum for the downside. You have the key levels. I was biased to the downside. I'm still biased to the downside. It doesn't mean that it won't do a reversal, but any reverse price will bring the sellers back in. They have profit from this big move, so they can re-enter, so be very careful. Some stock like Apple much stronger, but most of the stock have gaps from above. You know what? We didn't talk about Meta. Sorry, guys. So let's do a quick Meta, see if there is any different, because I think it was strong. Yes, it's still strong. You can see it sideways move. Don't do much. This is a sideways. So all the stocks are probably in this area, and Meta isn't. And if Meta will do drop, it will take the market for the downside because. But at the moment, sideways move. I don't want to see it. I don't want to touch it. I don't know what's going to happen. You can see it here. It didn't broke. You can see indecision, indecision. Come on, decide. There is a big gap on the 155. It didn't close. It tried to reverse. Immediately pushed for the upside. Um, this is it. So let's go back for the conclusion. So usually tend to come back for the 420 or the 50%. The Qs like to go for the 61 percent. So my end target is it's 426 and next 422. This is what I will look for. I'm still biased for the downside. So guys, um, have a good week and hope it was helpful, and see you if you like it. Thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends, and give me feedback if you have. So bye bye.